31 Days of Horror with Mark.
Good evening, and good evening some more. So for this evening, which I've now mentioned 3 times, it's evening, just in case you didn't realise, I managed to find something more elusive than Bigfoot, than the Loch Ness Monster and unicorns combined. What I found this evening was the John Carpenter film that was good after the 1980s. Just to clarify, as far as I'm concerned, any film that John Carpenter made pre-90s, brilliant. Halloween, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York, Christine, okay, Dark Star? I think I'm showing my kind of thing there. Assault on Precinct 13. So anything, as I say, anything he made before the 1990s, gold, absolute gold. And I've always kind of thought that it just seemed that unfortunately as soon as the 90s hit, he definitely kind of started to go downhill, and that really kind of saddened me because, as I say, he was so prolific in the 80s. He was releasing films like almost every year, and they were all belters, despite the fact that for some reason the critics seemed to have like a huge problem with him back in the day. Fuck those guys. We're talking about the same people that kind of tore The Thing a new one, claiming that it looked cheap, it wasn't scary. The Ennio Morricone was nominated for a Razzie for score. It's like, are you guys off your fucking heads? But yeah, absolutely, completely and utterly underappreciated in his time, which is so strange because every single one of his films, I think now, at least in that kind of time frame, are cult classics, absolute cult classics. And the weirdest thing as well is if they were box office bombs, if they were critically panned and what have you, you would kind of expect him not to be able to kind of make whatever the hell he wanted for like that lengthy period of time. But he was actually given effectively free reign to kind of effectively kind of bring film after film after film, year after year. So anyway, just going back to it, I had reserved myself to the fact that there was never going to be like a film after that that era done by Carpenter that I was going to go, oh my god, that was cracking. There's been a few that have been alright. I remember thinking Vampires was okay. Ghost of Mars, complete tosh. Thought The Ward was okay. Like pretty much as soon as the 90s hit, his films were like, they're alright. And I feel really kind of bad mouthing the bloke because he knew his craft at the time. I can't believe I forgot to mention They Live, but They Live as well was also the 1980s. But he knew his craft, he knew what he was doing. I think as the times kind of went along, I don't know if he maybe found himself, I don't know, almost old hat kind of thing, which is really kind of sad because, as I say, I genuinely think he could do no wrong. I even like Starman, which I think a few folks might be like, really? Yeah. But yeah, as it says, I think maybe the only pre-90s one I haven't seen now is his kind of biopic Elvis with Kurt Russell in it. I was still not seeing that, but again, for all intents and purposes, everybody turns around and says it's really good. So, as I said, found something fairly elusive. The John Carpenter film after, like, as soon as 1989 hit, so after 1989, which is actually kind of cracking. So this evening's kind of viewing was In the Mouth of Madness, which came out in 1995. I know, it's weird, it's a Carpenter film that came out, I'm pretty sure I've established this now. But yeah, so 1995, and stars Sam Neill. And oh man, just kind of getting ready to kind of try and describe this deranged Lovecraftian fuck nugget of a film. But yeah, so the whole kind of so Sam Neill's character is an insurance investigator, like the kind of guy that's like, somebody's like, oh, that building totally burned down by itself, and I had nothing to do with it. And he's like, really, really, are you sure? I think you might have had something to do with it. Did you burn it down for the insurance? So he's that kind of guy. So his latest um kind of job is essentially in relation to like best-selling fantastic novelist. Essentially, these references being like better selling than Stephen King and stuff like that, which I think was a wee nod. Like I think I read it was a wee nod to Stephen King, because I think John Carpenter and Stephen King are kind of friends. So it was that wee kind of nod, kind of wink, wink kind of thing. So yeah, so but then he's kind of went missing, and this couldn't have kind of come at a worse time, because it's kind of come out. It's come just before like the release of his kind of latest masterpiece kind of thing. So Sam Neill is essentially kind of hired to effectively kind of look for him, to basically make sure that the publishing company who kind of send him on the job effectively aren't kind of taking the piss, basically, like oh yes, he's totally kind of missing, and oh, we just kind of want our kind of money or publicity or whatever kind of thing. So he's sent to kind of like try and find the guy and what have you. So in the process, he kind of reads a kind of few of his books to try and get into the heat, and it's essentially implied that the kind of books themselves are they affect people, like like certain people kind of read them and go a wee bit kind of in kind of madness kind of thing. And so yeah, so the film starts off pretty much straight away, and Sam Neill is kind of carted into an asylum, screaming that he's no mad. And then most of the film effectively takes place when he effectively tells his story to his psychiatrist, played by David Warner, which I'm really like, who doesn't get an awful lot of kind of screen time in this, but so I thought I was a wee bit kind of like, no, because as soon as I saw his name in the credits, I was like, nice, like, yeah, woohoo, like, because I like David Warner, but yeah, so it's effectively told in flashback, and what you kind of really kind of get for that point is, as I say, is they go looking for Kane. There is some pretty weird encounters. The most kind of notable, which pretty much as soon as it kicks off, is Sam Neill's character John Trent is actually talking to the guy that's hired, like one of the guys that hired him, because he's like freelance and whatever, and they're in this kind of restaurant and they're talking back and forth, and in the background all this shit's going on, and the shit's actually kind of taking place with like just a guy with an axe. And so you're kind of watching this unfold, and they're having a conversation, and all this shit's gone kind of mental in the background, and then the axe wielder kind of smashes down the like the window and leans into Sam Neill's like, do you read Sutter Kane? And Sam Neill's like, what the fuck? And then he's almost effectively off kind of thing. So that's how it kind of like throws you into it, and it doesn't really kind of relent for that point on. Like the entire film is just like, madness being in the title is probably the best thing to describe it, because it is just like, what the fuck am I watching? As I say, I'd mentioned Lovecraftian as well. Now, for like, I haven't kind of dabbled or read any kind of like Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft or anything, but I'm very familiar with the style of his creatures. Obviously, you kind of you're probably kind of aware of the big ones. I'm not going to try and pronounce any of their names. Especially the big one that everybody should know, because I'm extremely worried that I will completely, and utterly butcher the pronunciation of the actual kind of name of this creature. So that one, but yeah, so everybody I think is fairly familiar with the works of Lovecraft, and if they've kind of seen it before, it's one of these things that kind of get ingrained. There's certain kind of very kind of certain like books. I think Alan Moore kind of wrote one, which a friend of mine, Mark Donnelly, who coincidentally I actually kind of I spoke to and actually asked whether or not this film was actually worth it, because Mark was a guy I kind of used to work with. Missed kind of working with him as well, but like he would like occasionally just kind of lend me like kind of fairly obscure kind of stuff in terms of like graphic novels and like stuff like that. And he would tune me into kind of films and stuff that I'd never really kind of went down the beaten path of, because I was kind of maybe not so much closed off, but like I'd maybe just got around to kind of like doing that. So Mark was actually really kind of good at kind of tuning me in. So I reached out to Mark at the start of 31 Days of Horror, and I just kind of says, look, is In the Mouth of Madness worth watching? And his endorsement made me go, right, okay, fair enough, I will give it a kind of bash at some point during this. And so that was tonight. And so the only reason I think I'm like even more familiar with Lovecraftian kind of like imagery and stuff like that is kind of partially because of some of the graphic novels that kind of Mark gave me a shot in and stuff like that. So it's weird he's called Mark and I'm called Mark, or Mr. D as I've been known to kind of refer to him. But yeah, so this film I was unbelievably and so happily, I might add, pleasantly surprised about. As I say, I kind of went in thinking I'll watch this and I'll be like, it was okay. Generally kind of like, well, okay, like it wasn't a kind of bad film, whatever. But I was absolutely blown away by how much I enjoyed it. So it creeps along. For the most part, there is this kind of ongoing mystery. I'm not going to, as always with these reviews, I'm not going to elaborate too much, because even though it came out in 1995, if you've never really seen it, I think the best thing to do for this film is to go in completely and utterly blind, which is what I kind of done. I think I was vaguely aware of it. In fact, actually, the only footage I've ever kind of seen is when me and Yvonne went to go and see John Carpenter in concert a few years back, and he actually played the theme from in the Mouth of Madness, which I might add is an absolute belter. But yeah, so I saw footage in the background, no context, no fucking idea what was going on in the screen, and I'm really kind of glad, like I did me. For a 90s film as well, like Carpenter's always been kind of known for like pushing envelopes with special effects. I mean, for The Thing came out in 1992, and I don't care what anybody says, as far as I'm concerned, it still absolutely looks like belting, mainly because of all the kind of practical special effects that were kind of crafted at the time by Rob Bottin, who I really kind of hope I've got that right. I'm pretty sure I've got it right. That's it. I'm putting my foot down. I'm pretty sure that's the bloke that done the special makeup effects in The Thing. This has got Greg Nicotero in it, so the guy that done the Walking Dead thing. One of the best things to actually come out of the TV series. I think the later seasons were good, but anyway, I'm getting like off course here. But film is an absolute kind of gem, so enjoyable to kind of watch. It's completely mental. It had me kind of laughing at a few kind of points and stuff like that. It's unsettling. It's got some creepy ass kind of creatures in it and stuff like that. And as I say, there's just this era. Okay, and the way it kind of ends as well, absolutely kind of loved it. Again, I will not elaborate beyond the point whereby if you've never kind of managed to sit down and watch In the Mouth of Madness, I wholeheartedly recommend it. As I say, okay, absolutely kind of loved it. As I say, is pleasantly surprised I did. I was gearing up to a okay, but as I say, is absolutely loved this kind of film. I'm really happy. Almost beside myself, which I'm not, because that would be really weird. But yeah, so yeah, if you haven't kind of seen it, In the Mouth of Madness, definitely worth your kind of time. Definitely worth a shout. I had rented it on the Xbox. HD kind of presentation looks really good. If anything, I think it deserves a proper Blu-ray release. If anybody I think should handle it, it is the good folks at Arrow. So if for any reason the folks at Arrow have managed to watch this video, which I assume was like this much of a chance, like this much, like you can't see the space between my fingers because that's how much of a chance there is. But they definitely should kind of handle this. Either that or the Second Sight guys as well. But I'd probably. Arrow, please do a version of this. I will buy it like instantly. Like it'll get pre-ordered straight away. But yeah, In the Mouth of Madness, Sam Neill goes ever so slightly mad. and for good fucking reason. Good fucking reason. That's me for tonight, guys. Nearly kind of wrapping up with this. Starting to make me feel sad. But it's not as if I'm never going to watch a horror film again, or I'll wait till next October before I watch anything. Sure. But yeah, hope you're enjoying these in some capacity or whatever. Let me kind of, as I say, let me know. It's the only reason I kind of find out whether or not I'm being shite at this or no. It would be really kind of cool to hear what you guys think if you enjoy them at all. But yeah, thank you very much as always for listening to me, and I will speak to you guys at some point soon.